Good morning, Workaholics. My name is Russ Fitzpatrick. I'm one of the founders of AnnieMac Worx and the Associate Works Productivity Platform. We are an absolutely free service nationally, sponsored entirely by AnnieMac Home Mortgage. And if you are a guest today, a first-time visitor with the Workaholic Army, we want to welcome you here. We especially want to encourage you to reach out to AnnieMac Home Mortgage. If you like what we do, if you like the concept of free teaching, training, and coaching, if you like the concept of the nation's most respected trainers coming on and providing value for you at absolutely no cost, then I want you to reach out to a mortgage loan originator or a branch manager at AnnieMac in the AnnieMac Nation and say thank you, and possibly see if you can find a way to honor them with a pre-qualification or referral of a purchase mortgage application, something to show that you support what AnnieMac Worx is doing on a national basis. If you're a broker owner, join the National Flagship Brokers on Facebook. It's a private group. Just takes about 2 seconds to request membership, and we will send you all of the recruitment materials and templates and videos from the broker-only forums across the country. So remember to like us on AnnieMac Worx on Facebook as well. Again, today is a very special day for AnnieMac Worx. Doug Thompson, a good friend of mine, who is the president of Canadian operations for Floyd Wickman organization, is going to share with you some insight about getting back on track in your real estate career. Having talked to him for the last few months and having spent time with Floyd Wickman organization for the last 30 years of my real estate career, I will tell you that maybe you hear me on this, maybe it's time to become a listing agent. Just maybe. Pay-per-click advertising for buyers and harvesting hundreds of buyers over time, and buying leads from Zillow, and buying leads from Realtor.com, and buying leads from Trulia, and driving buyers around in your car is not the highest and best use of your time. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to listen to Floyd Wickman. Maybe it's time to listen to Doug Thompson and become a listing agent and to amass inventory at one of the most valuable times in your career, coming into the 2016 calendar year, right? Coming towards the 2016 calendar year, and understanding that it's a list or die environment in residential real estate. The guy with the gold makes the rule. That's the new golden rule. The guy with the gold makes the rule, and that means the people with the listing inventory in the latter part of 2015 and in the beginning of 2016 are going to take all the business. So potentially it's time to become a listing agent. But for my purposes here was to introduce Doug Thompson. You have to understand, when you participate with a Floyd Wickman organization program, your average agent nationally, over years and years and years of statistical observations, does a deal a week during the program. That's a side a week, a transaction side a week. And that's an incredible statistic. It's an incredible return on investment. And it's the reason why I so heartily endorse the Floyd Wickman organization as a company and a person that you'd like to have teach, train, and coach you. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Doug Thompson, the president of the Floyd Wickman organization, and who does all of the top-down training in the Canadian provinces. He's way out west in British Columbia, so it's very early in the morning for him. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce Mr. Doug Thompson now, the president of Canadian operations for the Floyd Wickman organization.
Good morning, Russ. Thank you very much to Annie Worx, and thank you very much to all of you people that have joined us today. I truly appreciate it. And you're right, it is fairly early out here in wonderful British Columbia. But I also see there's some beautiful people out here from Florida that have joined us. So across the country, point to point, is very neat for us to be able to work together. I am very excited to be able to spend some time with you today, and without question, I couldn't agree with Russ any further, as it is the time to to become a listing agent. So let's get started and let's see if we can bring you guys some solid value for the next hour. In saying that, what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to you first about you becoming a listing agent. When I say that, as far as you becoming a listing agent, Floyd is the person that can help you do that. What I'm looking to do is to see if we can get to introduce Floyd as a person. First of all, talk a little bit about his history and who Floyd really is. Floyd is a very experienced real estate agent, been around a long time. But I'd like to have a little bit of fun with you today. I'd like to talk a little bit about, talk to you a little bit about Floyd himself, talk to you a little bit about being self-motivated and how to control that. Also, obviously, how to make more money in less time would be really important. I hope that you all would appreciate that. And last but not least, I'd like to talk about next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, when we'll talk about knocking the socks off the listing presentation that we're going to do. So, who are we as far as the Wickman organization? Well, Floyd, he's been around a long time. He started his operations in the mid-70s and has been carrying forward ever since. He's definitely got thousands and thousands of satisfied customers and satisfied clients out there today, but he's been known actually as the Realtor magazine named him the 25th most influential people in the real estate industry, and there's no question about it. I've been around him my entire career too, and he's helped me immensely. Over and above that, he's a speaker of the National Speakers Hall of Fame, which of course is a very strong, recognized indication as far as your career goes, because there's only just over 100 people that are part of this actually membership, so really powerful as far as that goes. He's been known as the Duke of Dialogue, and there's no question anybody who's been around Floyd knows that. He definitely comes up with the right words at the right time. So also further to that, he's been accredited for hundreds of thousands of people that actually have changed their careers. And so I'm one of those, Russ is one of those, and there's many of us that are here on the call today that I'm sure would say the same thing about the dynamics of what Floyd has done for us. Further to that, when you talk about myself as a real estate agent, I put this up here not to brag by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's important for you guys that are here to realize and know that I've worked the world of real estate. I've been involved in it for a long time. As you can see, I started off in '87 and didn't make much money my first year, and I'm sure that some of you could attest to the same. We worked diligently to become the #1 producer in all of Canada for the company I was working for, and then we averaged 100 transactions a year for 10 consecutive years. I owned my own office and was a broker for that office for many years, so for any of us that happen to be brokers here today, we definitely can talk your talk. So it's just important, I believe, to be able to let you guys know that we've definitely walked in your walk, walked in your shoes. I believe that selling real estate in Canada and the United States is very similar. There's not a lot of differences. Might be a few differences in the laws and the rules, but other than that, it's pretty well the same. So in saying that, I'd like to point out, a career change that I personally did. For the first 17 years of my career, I worked in a small town called Camrose, Alberta, just outside of Edmonton, Alberta, and had a very successful career there. I was very happy with everything that went on, but I decided that I wanted to semi-retire and sell real estate in a different community, so I moved to a city called Kelowna. Kelowna, British Columbia is where I live today. It's in the central southern part of British Columbia. It's sort of like your Tampa, Florida. It's a very beautiful place. It's lakes, and we can golf, we can fish, we can downhill ski all in the same day. It's pretty nice if you wanted to in the spring. So what I meant to say or talk a little bit about as far as a change in our career today is to be able to talk a little bit about what happened when I first got there in the real estate industry in Kelowna, British Columbia. It was quite interesting because when I first got there, in Camrose, where I came from, we didn't have an MLS, literally did not have an MLS system. We had, every Monday morning, we had our running shoes and an envelope full of feature sheets that we would deliver to the next town, or to the next office, I should say. So therefore, when we looked at what ended up happening when I moved to Kelowna, the person that was there, that was running and owning that office, said to me, "What operating system are you on, and what computer system do you use to go on to the MLS?" Well, right snappy, I knew I was in trouble because we had no operating system. We had nothing like that. And don't forget, this was in 2005 when this happened, so it wasn't that long ago. So I had a huge learning curve that I had to go through to be able to sell real estate in that lovely city. And at the end of the day, what I did is by going there, my goal was to try to find out and see if I could do what Floyd says. Some of you are going to ring home to this, because at the end of the day, it meant this: get pushed out of an airplane, land on the ground, and make money 30 days later. If you've been trained by Floyd, you're going to be able to do that. Now, I have to say that I dropped the ball because I only did it in 31 days instead of 30, but we were pretty close. So my point today with this is that we have to be ready to change. From time to time in our careers, we're going to come up against something that makes us have to change and make us have to be ready to take a step where we didn't really plan on or want to. So that's kind of maybe a little bit of what we're talking about today and how we're doing it. So what I'm looking at is whether you're a new real estate agent or you're a real estate agent that needs a reboot out there today, because we all know we've been in that place before. Most of us top producers have seen where a slump has showed up. We didn't want it, but it's there. And all of a sudden, so now it's time for a little bit of an adjustment or help. So I think by all stretch of the imagination, we've all been in one of these two spots. So what I like to do is sort of help us today is talk a little bit about the success that we can have and or the failures that we can have. Because without a doubt, we've all had it where we've run up against that wall of failure, and sometimes it doesn't feel so good when we find it. But today we're going to break through that wall and continue on and actually see how far we can get as far as the success goes in our real estate careers. Within the Wickman organization, we have one main core value that we truly believe in, and that's the get by giving philosophy, because I believe so strongly in that if you give to people, you'll get back. And I believe that that should be one thing that we set in our careers today throughout the whole entire industry, and that's something that has maybe changed a little bit. So it's really important for us to be able to give to our customers and give back out to the community, because if we do that, it'll come back to us tenfold over. I don't have any doubt about that. Now, as an overview, looking at what we're going to cover today, it's real important for us to understand that we are definitely out there in the industry doing the best we can. In the Floyd Wickman organization, it's the Kickstart program that Russ has touched base with that we're going to talk lots about today, and we're going to cover as we go along today. Now, I got to ask you, as far as the road to success for yourself personally, are you on that road? How are you doing overall? Are you on track to where you'd like to be? I'd just like to find out from a few of us if we are or if we aren't on track as far as our personal goals go and where we're at. So just go ahead and tell me real quick on the screen, if you could please type in, I'm either on track or I'm off track, for those of us that are being able to be on the screen and ready to chime in now. So go ahead, tell me whether you're on track or you're off track altogether. I see some are on track, I see some are off track, I see some are frustrated. So lots of different answers this morning. So by all means, what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk to you a little bit about to try to help you to get back on track. And it's no question about it, I can do that. It's no question about it, with Floyd's help, we can do that. So we look forward to being able to help you and work with that. Now, one of the things that I believe that's so critically important for you to be able to make that happen is to be able to actually work on your self-motivation. Now, self-motivation is very, very important at the end of the day. Some people struggle with this particular point. Some people find this to be the hardest part of their whole real estate career, let alone the personal life. So what I'd like to do is help and work on that, and we'll put some little effort into that this morning. So one of the guys that I truly believe in the industry today as far as a public speaker goes is Les Brown, and I really believe that at the end of the day, his saying that you should shoot for the moon, even though you miss, you'll land among the stars, is one of the most powerful, excellent statements there is as far as for looking after ourselves today. So our gift in life today is what we do and what we actually deliver. So please go ahead, think of it today, and let's shoot for the moon, or let's go for whatever we can do, the best we can do today. Now, to do that, I think that you have to be willing to train your brain. Now, train your brain, what do I mean by that? I mean that what you're doing is that you're going to look at it as far as what you're putting into your mind every single day. At the beginning of your day, when you first wake up, My friend Anthony Robbins says, the words that you first put into your mind are the ones that control the rest of your day. So please take a minute, listen to somebody at the beginning of your day that inspires you. Be it Anthony Robbins, be it Les Brown, be it if you need a little bit of help as far as on your sales career or your straightforward selling, Zig Ziglar maybe, or in the real estate world, of course. My mentor, my friend, my buddy, my dad, the guy that helps me through almost everything I need in today's world because my personal father has passed on. And that would be obviously Floyd. So put somebody in your brain right away in the morning that actually helps you to continue to keep you strong throughout the day. And what that'll do is obviously push you towards being able to accomplish other accomplishments. Now I gotta ask you, do you know who this is? A lot of you will know right away who it is, of course. It's Roger Bannister. Now, why would I bring Roger Bannister into a real estate talk? Well, of course, the reason that I did that is that I'd like to point out that, let's face it, from time to time we have to be willing to step up and do things that we normally don't do. Now, what that is step out of our box. So, do you think Roger Bannister one day just decided, I'm going to step up today and run the 4-minute mile like he did? No, of course not. He trained and worked and trained to get there. So I think that that's what we have to do. We have to wake up every day and train ourselves to get to where we want to go, set our goals to where we want to be, and be ready to be there when we get there. One of the things that we actually have to do on our path to getting there, though, is we have to be prepared to actually get a health plan. We don't want to end up in this pine box that we see in front of us today, because if we don't have a health plan, meaning that train our brain, train our bodies, train our minds, train everything that has to do with us to do things when we need it, we are going to have a struggle when we really need it. And what I mean by that is the energy. We have to have energy in today's world. We have to be able to snap our fingers and change our state, get up and get going. When's that going to happen to us? Well, let's say as an example, it's 7 o'clock at night and we're sitting there and we've just started to relax in front of our TV with our favorite program, and next thing you know, bang, the phone rings and somebody wants to list their house, or you get an offer in one of your listings. You need to be able to jump up and get going, jump up and make it happen. If you're not training yourself and you're not watching what you eat and not having an exercise program, the odds of you having that passion and odds of you having that strength when you need it is definitely going to be a struggle. I've lived and worked beside guys in my real estate career that had a very hard time with this, so I think it's something that's critically important for us to be successful in today's world. Furthermore than that, you have to live with a passion, as Anthony Robbins says, because I truly believe that's so true. So I got to ask you, what's your passion in life? What do you do? What makes you burn with desire? I hope your real estate career is definitely a passion for you. I hope you don't take it just as a job. And it's possible to switch from just a job to a career. There's no doubt about it. And I hope that that is what ends up happening for you, is to soon turn it into a passion so that you can actually be highly successful in the real estate industry. It's one of the greatest jobs, the greatest careers in the world if you actually work at it and you actually love it. So I hope passion becomes part of your real estate career. Furthermore to that, we got to learn to smile. When we talk about learning to smile, I love this particular photo because, you know, at the end of the day, I was on a ferry coming back from Victoria, British Columbia the other day, and we were on this fairly large boat, and half of the restaurant was staring at this beautiful little baby that's very similar to this one, that was looking over his dad's shoulder, and he was smiling and chuckling and laughing, and he had the whole boat under his control. When he smiled, everybody smiled. When he laughed, everybody laughed. That's the kind of power and control you need to have within your own personal life. When you walk into a room, do people actually know that you're there? Or people are aware that you actually showed up? The first way to start that is to be able to have a smile. Now, of course, you could have the opposite, and you could look like these two guys. And if you've ever seen the movie that these two are in, it's a very priceless movie. But we also want to make sure that this is not how we run our lives. We are not the grumpy old men that actually make our careers to shine. So please make sure that we're smiling every day, because it's definitely worth $1 million to you if you work it. So Excuse me. Next to that, I like to talk about our inner self. Our inner minds are what controls us. There's no question about it. You know, if we can control our enemy within, our enemy outside can do us no harm. It's such a great quote, again, by Les Brown. Because the fact of it is that what's inside us controls us. You know, those little voices, one on each side, one saying one thing, one saying the other. Like, as an example, you know, some of those things that we talk about, like as prospecting maybe, or going out and actually doing some door knocking or doing some things that have to do with real estate that actually could possibly make us money. Well, we know one side of us is saying, yeah, let's go do it, and one side saying, nah, I don't want to do that today. So who wins in your mind? Who's winning in your mind in those particular discussions? I sincerely hope that the right one is winning, and if not, this is part of controlling your mind. This is part of what we're talking about, to be able to have you control your mind so that you actually get up in the day and get her going. So speaking of procrastination, that's what I like to talk about now. Let's stop procrastinating. Let's stop doing that. It's just an evil within our lives. What's the couple things that you procrastinate about? Let me ask you this. Go ahead, give yourself a quick note. What's one thing that you're procrastinating about in your personal life today? What is that one thing that you know is there, that you know you should be doing, but you're not doing it? Maybe it's an exercise program. Maybe it's like me, stop eating popcorn at 8 o'clock at night every night, a great big bowl of popcorn that I absolutely love, and I know I should quit, but I love it, so I need to stop that. Just an example. Now give yourself a note. What's that one thing that you're procrastinating about within your business? What's that one thing? That one thing that you know that you should be doing that you're not doing. And you need to do it now. So an example of that is, I'm going to give you a couple examples of that right now of very close friends of mine and people that I know very well that I coach and help within the industry here in Canada. The first one that are so sorry, now what we're going to have to do is just do it today. Just get past those things. What I like to do is I like to talk, though, or mention a couple people that I work with today here in Canada. One's called Larry Jago, and his is a very good friend, and what he did is he was a fellow that I have trained with for 3 years, and he decided that he was not going to work for sale by owners, and I tried to get him to do it, but he wouldn't. Finally, one day in the beginning of 2014, he said, okay, I'm going to do it. Today's the day. And he kicked into gear, and for 60 days, he worked hard. For 60 days, he called and phoned for sale by owners. He ends up with 6 closed transactions in 60 days as direct spin-off from working some for sale by owners for a total of just over $30,000 in his pocket. And then he wondered why he can do this more often. And I have to tease him all the time when I see him because of the fact I have to say the same thing. Why then are you not doing it all the time? I ate for sale by owners for lunch, and I believe they're the low-hanging fruit. So at the bottom line, get out there, say hello to them. Believe me, they don't eat their young. They're okay. They're just people who want to move to their next home. So very important. The other one that I talk about is Shahira, a good friend of mine that is, I've known her for about 15 years, and I personally coach her now and have been for 2 years, and she was doing about $150,000 a year in gross production in a small town, a couple thousand population, and she worked really diligently hard to make that happen. And she phoned me one day and said, I'd like to do coaching, but I don't know how far I can go, but I definitely would like to raise my numbers a little bit. So the next calendar year, we got her up to about $235,000, just under that, and she worked hard to get there and was very proud of that. This year, 2015, she's already broke $300,000, and all of that she stems back to personal coaching, one-on-one coaching. So if you're at all interested in one-on-one coaching and you think that that might be the thing that you need to get you going and get you to the next step, please feel free to call me or feel free to email me. My email address is doug@thompsonsales.ca. My phone number is 780-608-3500. Call me anytime. I'd be happy to try to help you. Now, in saying that, what I like to do is try to now take your procrastination and throw that away and turn it into your goal. What I'd like to do is show you how to turn your goal into your purpose, because if you can figure out what your purpose is, you're going to definitely aspire quicker and faster to do better to get to that goal. Now, how do you do this? It's a simple exercise. It's going to take you about 30 minutes to accomplish it step by step, but please take the time to do it. What you do is go ahead now, just for fun, if you could please, write down for me a number, an income number, a dollar number that you're going to make in 2016. I know we're stepping ahead a little bit to where your goals might be not quite organized there yet, but just for today, put down a number, whatever it is. Now, once you got that, what the next thing we do is we look at that number and we make a few bullet points. Why is that amount of money important to me? And we make a couple bullet points. Well, it might be 3, 4, 5, 10 bullet points to why that's important to me. Then we take a second and we look at those points and we think about it for a minute, and then we go ahead and say, now, why are those points important to me? And then we do the exercise again, and we actually go through that one more time. And then we do that same exercise one more time, and we actually do it now for the third time. We do this same exercise 5 times. As I say, it's going to take some time to be able to do this exercise correctly if you think it through. Now, if you're doing the exercise right, each time you go through one of those steps, you end up to see a whole different light of what that money was supposed to bring us. And at the end of the day, when you get down to 5 deep, I promise you, you will have found your true purpose. If you find your true purpose in life and you find your true purpose in that goal, you're going to be able to work that much harder to accomplish it, because that purpose will push you day in and day out way harder and faster than that money ever could have pushed you. That is a for sure. So, great exercise. Please take the time to look at it, and it will help you in your career, no question about it. Furthermore, I'd like to take that particular exercise and use it as a bridge to carry us to our next level in the real estate industry, because we all know we have a next level. And I never set the goal for you. I'm not saying that I'm going to set the goal for you. I set the goal for whatever you want your goal to be. So if you want to do 10 deals a year, that's great. That's your goal. I'll help you to get there. If you want to do 30 deals a year, I'll help you to get there. If you want to do 100 deals a year, I'll help you to get there too, because we've accomplished that, and or we coach people on a regular basis. They're doing far more production than that, so it's totally available to you. So let's use this bridge to get there. Now, knowing for a fact that we have some successes and we have some failures, there's no question about it. But one of the things that I like to point out is that one of the richest men in the world and one of the most powerful businesses in the world today says to us that failure is probably a really good thing for us. Every once in a while we have to throw the stick out there, run for it, and not get there. Make a leap and not get there, because of the fact that it makes us stronger, makes us more powerful. When we go down and we come back up again, it's a great feeling. There's some of you out there that have been with me and that have made $1 million and lost $1 million. There's nothing like being able to go back up and actually get that million back and do far surpass it, because it's an exciting thing to happen in life. Of course, I would have never liked to lose it, but when it does happen, it is a great experience to get it back. So failure is part of life. I hope that you all feel that way, and that we're going to work past that, though, so that we can get out of that slump if that's where we happen to be. Furthermore than that, of course, we'd have to bring a Canadian hockey player into it to talk about the shots that you miss or the ones that you don't take. Because let's face it, it's so true. So step it up. Go out there and try. Set a goal, whatever it is, and push for it. Make it a stretch. Make it so that it's attainable. Make it so that you can actually accomplish it. You know, Michael Jordan is definitely one of the best athletes the United States has ever produced, and without a question, he says over and over and over that he's shot, he's missed and missed many, many times. So take a chance. Be that person that does it. Dream big, set goals, and take action without question. Dreaming big is the way to go. You know, if you want to dream small, that's okay, but I think dreaming big is the way to go. Anthony Robbins is a guy that I inspire to, so take some time and spend some time with him, and I promise you beyond a shadow of a doubt, he'll help you in your career also. Now, This particular slide I really like because this is a reflection of somebody in my life that's so important to me. My father was a perfect fellow of exactly this slide. For the first 5-6 years in my real estate career, my dad was very strong on the fact that he hoped that I would not succeed, that I would not complete my dreams. Now you got to wonder why anybody that loves you as much as my dad loved me would ever want me to fail. Well, he didn't really want me to fail in the real estate industry. He wanted me to fail so I'd go back and run our horse and cattle trailer business that we had on our farm that was really important to him. It was a strong business. It was the biggest cattle trailer and horse trailer business in all of Canada, and so he wanted me to look after that. Once I became number one in all of Canada, he finally said to me, well, I guess you're not coming back to the trailers. I guess I'll have to start supporting you. So it's really important for me to make people realize that massive success is a great revenge. So get out there and have massive success and show people that you can do it. Now, I put this slide because of the fact of your home court advantage. I wonder, do you have your home court advantage? Do you have your family on your side working with you or helping you and being part of your life? Have you had them sit down with you and set out some goals to what would be important to them if you were to succeed in your career? I think this is such a critical part of our real estate careers, is take a time, sit down, chime in with our families and say, what do you want? If we accomplish this goal, what would be great for you? If you accomplish this goal, what would you want to our kids and to our significant others? In my world, for all the time I was in the real estate industry, we went for 3 weeks on a holiday with my best friend, Lauren Stremecki, and we spent 3 weeks with our kids. No phones, no talking about business, just our kids every single year. My kids loved that time that we gave them because of the fact that there were no phones and there was no real estate talk. But during the year, when we were out there pounding the pavement, also learned a very high successful realtor in Canada, when we were out there pounding the pavement, I promise you beyond a shadow of a doubt, our kids were cheering us on. They'd be, go Dad, get that listing so we can have that time off in the summer. And then, of course, maybe we can get ourselves a new bike. So set some goals and find out where you're at. So I got to ask you, please go ahead and tell me quickly, do you have the home court advantage? Is the home court advantage important to you? I sincerely hope you do have the home court advantage. Let us know if you do. Oh, there we are. Several have it, and some say they don't. Very interesting. I hope that you do work hard towards getting that in your career today, because it's so important. Now I have to wonder, do you have a plan? When January 1st rolled by 2015, did you have an actual written out plan? Did you have a step-by-step process that you're going to go through to accomplish where you're going to go? If you didn't, I'd like to work towards helping you so you get ready to have that same plan step by step for 2016, because today's the day to start. I always started my 2016, hypothetically, the year to move forward, in September. The reason that I started that is today is the day that I would go out and start to list houses. If my inventory is high, and I mean really high, on January 1st, my spring is going to be fantastic. Everybody else is going to be out there scrambling and digging in the middle of January or beginning of February to try to get listings, and I already have all my listings. I carried on an average of 70 listings on a regular basis without an assistant at all, and so I would gain somewhere around 20 to 30% extra inventory in the next 90 days all the time, every year in my career. So it's just a little bit of a hint for you at this point in time that this is one thing that I'd like to see you get up and make a change on. Today's the day to build your 2016. Don't wait till February. In saying that, I have to wonder, are you that person that's completely organized? Everything's just laid out perfectly? Takes you that long every morning to get that desk looking that clean, and then finally, now what do? We have to get to work. Well, if that's you, that's one way to look at it and one way to be. Now, the other side could be the one that is the opposite of that, is actually the crazy one that was kind of me in some ways, where I was running all over the place and very busy and sort of disorganized in some ways, but at the end of the day, I knew where everything was. You asked me where a file was, I knew where it was. But then again, there was a time in my career where things didn't go so well. And then all of a sudden, guess what? there was more month at the end of the money, and there was more bills than the money was there to pay. So I think most of us have been in this position if we really told each other the truth. And so I'd like to work towards today to help you to make sure that that never happens again, because let's face it, this is not where we want to be in our real estate industry today. So in saying that, let's get working together so that we know where we're at. Let's start as a team. Let's work together so we can get up and get going today and move forward as a team. Teamwork makes the dream work, and we know that we need to do that. So I'm going to put together a success plan. I'm going to put together a success plan with you so that we know exactly where we're at and how to get there. And to do that, of course, the Floyd Wickman Kickstart program is definitely a first-rate way to do that. We're going to talk more about what it is as we get closer to the end of our session today. Now, our system as far as selling real estate is 100% proven. There's no question about it. Our track record speaks for itself. But if you're struggling in any one of these 7 areas that you see in front of you today, we can help you. They're the 7 areas we focus on day in and day out to help you become more efficient and more effective in your real estate industry. Let's face it, we have to generate and prospect. There's no question about that. You know, we have to learn how to control our time. We have to learn how to sell. We need to learn how to service people correctly. We need to learn how to create a book of business that gives us money on an ongoing basis. Well, keeping track of our numbers, let's face it, if you don't know where your numbers are, you're never going to get there. And we're going to talk more about that yet today. And then working as a group would definitely help us at the end of the day. So moving forward on that, that's what we're going to cover, and that's what we're going to talk about. I'd like to show you or talk to you a little bit today about how to make more money in less time. Let's face it, my dad always said to me, if there's a way to make it easier and get it done faster, you're going to figure it out. And I always did. I really prided myself on that, and I believe that when I got into the real estate industry, that was an easy thing to do. Because first of all, we're all given the same 24 hours when we start at the beginning of the day. So we got to learn, how are we going to control that time? What are we going to do? How are we going to make it happen? So in saying that, what we do, or what we have in the Wickman organization, we have something that we call the SmartWeek. Now the SmartWeek, we've got 5 areas within this particular example or tool that we give you. And what that is first of all, we have to learn to block out our schedule, block out our time so that we know what we're doing as far as that goes. That means a start time and an end time. What that means is that, say as an example, that we're going to prospect from 9:30 to 11. Well, then on our daily week, we prospect and we block that out. We're doing nothing between 9:30 and 11 at that point in time. So, and then maybe say we're going to go to the gym between 6 and 7:30. We've blocked out now. We know that that's what we're going to do during that time. Or maybe on family time, you say that you're going to go and have supper between 5 and 7 with your family, and that time's blocked out. So block out your time so you know exactly where you're at and when you're going to be there a week in advance, so you can look at your schedule and you know exactly where you're going to be a week in advance on every day. Further to that, we're going to color code it. Color code it, you might say. What does that mean? Well, we use 3 colors. We use green as anything to do with making money. We use yellow as far as for organizational time, and we use pink for our personal time. And last but not least, we use white space for all the space that's left over after that. And that's just so it's easier to see and keep track. Further to that, we create a top 5 list. Well, this is where the ladies shine in most cases, because of course the top 5 list is what ladies always have. They're the best at making lists. So do this the day before, because then your subconscious mind thinks on it during the evening and thinks on it during the nights, and you're able to then be able to get her done the next day. And when I say get her done, what that means is don't quit until those top 5 things are done. Stick with it. Work at it. Make it happen, because it's worth it if you work that way. Now, next thing is re-engineer. Re-engineer means this. Have a look back at your week that's gone past. If we were to say today's Monday morning and we look back Monday morning of last week, would we be able to find some things in there that might save us some time? Would we be able to find some things in there that actually we did well, but yet some things that we didn't do so well? What I'd like to do is I'd like to say, please take a minute and have a look to when we're done our call today at our week gone past and see where you could improve. And that's what we call our aha, or aha moment is exactly that. That means, oh wow, I could have definitely saved myself some time right here. And when I was supposed to go prospecting between 9:30 and 11, and then, oh yeah, Jimmy phoned and said, let's go golfing, and I went golfing. No good. When we're supposed to prospect, we got to prospect. That's part of life. That's part of what we're supposed to be working on and doing. Now, I'd like to point out before we go on that one of the things that's really important out there today is that the top producers in the industry today, they believe when they come through our training that this particular SmartWeek is probably the most important tool that they learn during that process. They believe that this is the shining star of the entire program, is learning and mastering this process. Of course, I've just touched on it lightly here. We go into it way deeper within the program. But at the end of the day, it is a very important part. So I got to ask you this. Rhonda Ludwig is a lady that I say and talk about very dearly about this particular part. She averages 145 transactions a year without an assistant. She runs her office, has 15 people in her office. She looks after her significant other and her 2 children, and does all of that in the same 24 hours that some of us are doing 10 and 15 deals a year and wonder how is that possible that somebody can do all that. Well, if you're ever interested in talking to Rhonda, give me a call, send me an email, and I'd love for you to talk to her because she's a very neat lady. She lives in Portage la Prairie, Manitoba, and is a hard worker. So I look at this next slide and I say to myself, if you were to look at this and knowing that yellow is organizational time, is this person making much money? Probably not, but they'd be a darn good assistant, I think is the way that would be. Now how about this? This is what we're trying to look for. This is what we're aiming for, is to be able to have a balanced life, to be able to have a day and a half off a week, and I promise you we can show you how to do that, make a little bit of money, and still get all of the rest of the things done that we need to do. How about this person? Oh, this guy's making lots of money. But of course, if you're working this much and you're spending this much time making money, you're going to need this money because you're soon to be divorced. Further to that, of course, what we're looking for is balance. We want to learn how to have balance and create balance in our life. It's so important. We can always have money, but balance is where it's at. So let's be sure to work towards that in our careers today. Now, the step 2 is that we're going to cover off is knowing our numbers. This is another critical part of our real estate career, to be able to be as successful and on top of our career as we're going to do. Now, what do I mean by know your numbers? Well, within our organization, we break down our every part of our career, and we break it down to the point where we know exactly how many phone calls we have to make every day to accomplish our number of listings that we're going to get, to the number of sales we're going to do, to the number of actually dollars in our pocket. And that's what I mean by knowing your numbers. So it's so important within the industry to know exactly how to do that. And we have a step-by-step process to know how to do that. Further to that, as far as speaking your numbers, let's find out from you today. Where are you today? Rate yourself really quickly. Between 1 and 5. 5 being that you're right on top of it, you keep track of your numbers and you know exactly where you're at. 1 at the point where you think that you need some help, could be doing a little bit better. Go ahead and rate yourself so you know where you're at as far as that goes. Oh, I see some 1s, I see some 3s, oh, I see a couple 5s, but definitely overall I think people feel that they could help themselves a little bit better and do a little bit better out there today. So I promise you I can help you with that, and I'd love to do that. Further to that, where would you like to be 1 year from now? Just make yourself a quick note. If you could take a snapshot or wave a magic wand over you today and you'd say, where would you be a year from now? Would you be like Shahira, where your income has doubled? Would you be like Dave Kinney, in Vancouver, where his income has just about tripled in 18 months because of our coaching? I think that's probably where you'd like to be. I hope that is where you're at. So, what would it take for you to get there? Well, all I believe it's going to take for you to get there is to have some focus, have some change in direction, and we can help you to do that. Now, most important though, will you never quit? Will you never quit? Fight fight till you get there. My dad did a really neat thing with us when we were kids. For those of us that grew up on a farm or know anything about growing up on a farm, we had to pick rocks and roots when we were little kids. And what that means is when you're going to clear off a field, you knock down all the trees and you got to pick up those loose branches here and there. So he would throw a stick out and say, okay, you pick up all these sticks, and when you're done that, you can have a little break. Well, I'm going to tell you, it took a lot of tenacity to continue to keep going, because that was some boring. And I know from time to time the real estate industry is the same. It's not always that easy, but never quit if you want to succeed in a big, big way. So, now, success is yours. This particular little guy is really important to me. I think he's got the neatest smile. He's got the neatest face out there. I recently spent the weekend with my son in Victoria and my daughter-in-law to be, and I said to them, they better hurry up and build me a grandson that looks like this, because I just love him. He's got such a great face and determination. So, I believe this is the face of determination that we need out there today. So, let's get on it and make it work for us today. Now, step 3 is build a book of business. A book of business is something that Floyd is very strong on. He's put a lot of time and energy and effort into showing us how to build a book of business that puts money in our pocket. Money in our pocket every day. Now, what does that mean? It means exactly that. Is that a lot of times people say that in the real estate industry, every day I wake up unemployed, or at the beginning of the year I wake up unemployed. Well, the reason that you wake up unemployed in this real estate industry is only one. That's because of the fact that you do not have a book of business that's working for you. Or maybe you don't have a book of business at all. Or you don't have the situation where you've actually created a CRM that's producing money for you day in and day out. Believe me, we can show you how to do that, and I love to work with you on that, so that every day when you wake up, there's people sending you business day in and day out. In my career, very regularly, I'd be at home and somebody would phone up and say, hey, can you come over tomorrow and list my house? Can you come over tomorrow? My sister wants to buy a house. Not a matter of go out and pound the pavement every day to get deals. Not saying that I didn't do that, because believe me, I did, to get to that point in my career. But I promise you, if you do it right, you can get to that point in your career when people are asking you to work for them, not you to work the other way around. So, in saying that, when it comes to prospecting and building relationships, it's essential. You have to be willing to prospect. Even when I was as busy as I was, I still prospected every day from 9:30 to 11, every single day. Get up in the morning, go do our normal routine, go for breakfast, and then prospect. Now, sometimes that just means return calls from open houses that we did, return calls to for sale by owners that are interested in selling, return calls to expireds. But, every once in a while, we just actually made calls too to people. So when I changed and I moved to Kelowna, I got to meet all the people in that office, and we were working towards having a successful career. And so I helped all those people actually increase their careers, and by making phone calls. So one of the things that we did there is we actually said, okay, let's set up a time when we all get together and we all just make calls. Well, I couldn't be for this one appointment because I had to go home because my dad was sick, so I had to go home for the weekend, and I was at home at my house at 10 in the morning, and the phone rang. And when the phone rang, it was like, hello, how are you? And this person on the other end of the line said, my name is, I work here, and I'd like to actually be interested, see if you'd be interested in selling your home now or the near future. And I said, sure, because right away I knew who it was and what had happened. And so the conversation went on, and at the end of the conversation, this person booked an appointment to actually look at my house and get it listed. Well, you never know what you get when you actually make a call and you actually prospect, because this person who made that call ended up being my wife. And so at the end of the day, watch out what you get when you prospect, because sometimes you can get something that you can't replace, and she's the most beautiful person in my life. So I love Debbie with all my heart, and I definitely think that it was one of the greatest experiences ever by moving to Kelowna and learning how to prospect. Saying that, I like to talk a little bit about knowing your value. What is your value? Well, you got to know that the fact is that value is important to us. But what is our value? How do we generate it? How do we produce it? How do we take care of it? What percentage of the pie are you getting out there today that you're in your industry today? What percentage are you getting paid? Are you getting paid what you're worth? Do you think you're worth X number of dollars within the real estate industry today? Make yourself a note. We're going to talk about commissions for a second here, but make yourself a note, please. For the rest of my real estate career, I'm going to get paid X. every time I sell a house. I'm going to get paid 5%, 3%, 9%, whatever it is in your market, I'm going to get paid X. Now, when you say that, don't be a wimp. Don't take it the other way around and actually not get that. You get that, because at the end of the day, if the only weapon you have to get listings is a price, and you're in a price war and you're rapidly going downhill, it won't be long till you're out of the real estate industry if your price is the only weapon you have. You got to learn how to present your value. So don't get caught up in that fire-breathing dragon as far as commission cutting, because let's face it, you don't have to be there. Commission cutting is a disease. You don't have to be involved in commission cutting. You just have to know how to be able to control that problem. In controlling that problem, the first step in controlling that problem is just being able to do this. Say no. Don't be afraid. Just say no. Now, of course, you can't say no like my granddaughters would if they came to our house and things weren't going their way and getting what they wanted. You can't yell and scream and stomp your feet. You have to actually have some pizzazz and some skill on how to say, no. Why would you even think to ask me that as far as cutting the commissions go? Because it's not necessary. Now, every once in a while when you run into the problem when you just say no, then there's somebody that says, well, Tom up the street said that he'll do it for less, and so not a gender pick there, just a point. And you have to be able to say, I have to wonder, if Tom up the street is so quick to give away his money, how quick do you think he's going to be to give away yours? Notice I paused there, and the reason I did that is because that's the way you need to deliver it to your customer. The next person that talks at that exact second loses. So you got to learn how to control. As my dad always said to me, you have two ears and one mouth. Use them in the same proportion, because it's so important to be able to just shut up at that exact second and be patient and wait. Now, every once in a while, we also run into the situation that two closes don't work, so we got to have three. So the third one that I always use in that particular situation is learning how to split up the pie. Now, today I'm just going to use an example of 6% as the commission. I don't know what your commission is, and it's not really relevant. It's just the example. So what we're looking at is we're going to talk about 6%. Half of the commission obviously goes to the other company. One part is left where you're going to use for your advertising, promotion, and so on. One part is left to pay taxes, because of course we all have to pay taxes, and there's only one part left. So in saying that, that's what you want? No, that feeds my family. That puts bread and butter on my table, and I'm sorry, that's not negotiable. That's mine. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Leave it at that. Now, furthermore, moving forward, what I like to do is I like to talk more about your value and how to build your value. One of the things we have to realize that study shows is 60% of all real estate agents out there have no listing presentation at all. 30% of people out there have a listing presentation and use it some of the time. 10% of agents have a listing presentation and use it all the time. They're the ones that make all the money. This is where we need to be. In saying that, what I like to do is figure out how to present your value and get more listings. Well, we're going to put time into that right now, because the fact of the fact is we all know listings are the name of the game. What we're looking at today is talking about more about the Kickstart program, and we're going to get there, I promise you. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know that if you're a listing agent, NAR says that you're going to work 30% less at the end of the day to make the same amount of money. Well, I sure like that stat, because I like working less for more money. And in saying, I'm going to talk about next week is I'm going to promote how to build the listing presentation of your dreams. I'm going to talk about next week how to show you how to be the lister that you deserve, and how to present a listing presentation so that you actually go to the table and you're not at all nervous, you're not at all concerned. Now, keeping that in mind, a listing presentation is not just a CMA. We can't just show up with a CMA, do a little bit of chit-chat, and think that we have a presentation. No, I'm sorry, that's not it. Now, price is important, of course. It's a sliver of the whole presentation, but it's not the presentation. So we got to learn how to present price. I'll talk to you next week about how to present price, and I'll show you how to present price so that it'll knock the socks off you. Now, at the end of the day, presentations are where we're at. If you want to go to our Floyd Wickman FloydWickmanTraining.com site, we're going to give you a preview of the listing presentations. We're going to give you a preview of the Kickstart program. We're going to talk more about that in a second. In saying that, what I'd like to do is, don't forget, on Wednesday, we're going to be presenting to you the listing presentation that'll do exactly that. Knock the socks off your competition and impress the heck out of your customers that you're working with today. If you want to find out more about me today, talk about your social media. Social media is where it's at today. There's no question about it. We have to get better at social media. Your YouTube, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, all of this is critically important to you. I have very strong on all three of these areas because of my beautiful wife Debbie has worked hard to have them there. If you don't have a really good LinkedIn account, you need to get one, because the first thing I would do if I was coming to your community to see if I'm going to list a house with you or I'm going to do business with you, is I'd be going to your LinkedIn account. So you go to your LinkedIn account at the end of today and you tell yourself, are you proud of that LinkedIn account, or do you need to do some work on it? I think that might be a couple things to look at. Your Facebook, of course, and do you have some YouTube videos of yourself and everything and how you do your business? I think that's so important. Keeping in mind, I want you to look at, if you're ready to make a jump today into the real estate career and have somebody who truly cares about you and truly cares about your success, Floyd and I will be there with you. I have two guarantees that I have in my industry today. Number one, that I've walked in your boots. I've sat in your chair. I've done everything that you're doing to try to succeed. I've done everything that you're going to do to fail. My goal is to definitely make it easier for you and actually make your job to be way simpler than all the mistakes that I made. In saying that, the Floyd Wickman Kickstart program is a straightforward, powerful program. What's in that program is, as we say today, it's a 7-week program. It's one lesson per week for 7 consecutive weeks. We average a 40-minute video that you actually cover. The assignment that we do therein is very strong, very powerful, that's related to the video. Further to that, we actually have a multiple choice test after that, and we track your numbers. We keep track of your numbers every week. You can share those numbers with another customer. You can share those numbers with your buddy. You can share those numbers with your manager or your owner if that's what you wish. But the key of it is that at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to graduate from our program unless you actually pay attention. It's going to be hard for you to be ironing your clothes or doing something else, because this is a program that we want you to learn. We want you to grow. So please consider this program, have a look at it, and you're going to see what it'll do for you in your career. Now, to do that, it's really quite simple. All you have to do is to go to, again, as I said, floydwickmantraining.com, and we'll be able to help you out. Now, our production overall within the Wickman organization speaks for itself. We have over 300,000 graduates, and many of them within your organizations, I promise you, that are top producers. As Russ said earlier, we average 1.03 per person production total across all of our definite programs that we put together. It is a powerful, powerful way for you to increase and help your careers. Furthermore to that, we take the bottom 50% and put them in the top 20%. Happens all the time. I promise you, if you decide to jump on board with us, we'll help you to make that happen for you. We have a very strong return on your investment. As Russ said, invest some money and we'll give you a 10 or 20 or 50 to 1 return on your money. All you have to do is decide. Furthermore to that, we'll do some deals. We'll show you some deals that you've never done before. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the investment that you're going to do. I can't afford it is something that some people say, well, if you're short of the money, don't worry about it. Let us know. Give me a call. I'll help you with that. As far as for when can you get started, you get started today. It only costs $399 for you to be part of the Wickman program. So take a second, have a look at our website, have a look at what we have to offer. Put my name in there as the person that helped you get there, and I promise you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we're going to have some fun in our training and coaching with you, and we are there today. Don't forget, Wednesday is the same time, same place, but we're going to hit a home run with a listing presentation that you'll be happy with, and you'll never, ever sit down at a kitchen table and be nervous again by the time we're done on Wednesday. Well, thank you very much, Russ, for giving me the opportunity to be with you here today. I really appreciate it. All the best to all you people that are out there. Feel free to phone me, call me, text me, whatever you need to do, but I'm there with you every step of the way. Have a great morning. Sell, sell, sell. Go list a house. Thanks. Bye-bye.
I just want to come on real quick and say thank you to Doug Thompson and the entire Floyd Wickman organization. It's our pleasure to be the first place to introduce Floyd Wickman's Kickstart program. Associate Works is very, very proud to be sponsored entirely by AnnieMac Home Mortgage. But this truly is a celebration of Floyd Wickman's accomplishments, Floyd Wickman's influence on my personal career and the career of so many top agents. And that's not lip service, guys. I am honored to have any interaction with the Floyd Wickman organization because of how much he affected me. And, we always say we don't sell anything on Works. We don't sell anything on Works because AnnieMac Worx sponsors it, so we don't sell anything. But this time I wanted to celebrate with Floyd Wickman because he just kicked off his first ever online program. He's taken the program from what used to be like a $1,500 investment and traveling to his location. So you've got $2,500, $3,500 invested today through Doug's program and that link that I just put in on the bottom of your screen, FWRET/Doug. If that doesn't work, go to Floyd Wickman Organization and the Floyd Wickman website and potentially consider the $399 investment in yourself and your career. If you could do a deal a week for 7 weeks, it's a hell of a deal. And I'm going to put Doug's contact information in one more time so that you guys have it, and I'll send out an email with his contact information as well. One more big thank you to Floyd Wickman Organization and Doug, and we will see you Wednesday workshop this week for Floyd Wickman's listing presentation class, and we're so happy to bring that to you. So thanks again for being on.